kind of on the same vein of trailers, I guess. The new Sonic Movie 2 trailer came out today, which kind of got me thinking. Obviously, I want to talk a little bit about that trailer in general.
I haven't seen the first movie yet.
But
I've seen little parts of it,
but just kind of my big question is like, what are you guys' thoughts on video game movies, and like what video games do you think would kind of lend themselves well to movies? Because it's a very hit or miss category, and I think there's only been a few that have done it right, and the couple that I can think of top of my head are Sonic, the first one, and then Detective Pikachu.
Dude, Detective Pikachu is so good.
Yeah, but like there's so many bad ones too. Like
I love it.
You have obviously the infamous Super Mario Bros. Movie.
what? That movie is great.
It's really funny just to look back how bad it was.
Like with Zemo.
But
Luigi.
You know, Coach, hold on. Coach in chat says, I'm surprised you let him in your house with an Iowa State shirt on.
Trust me, boy.
Trust me, I would rather he doesn't wear that trash.
It's wonderful. I love it.
That's where he went to school.
My alma mater.
He went there.
He
Okay, anyways.
Where people are nice and not dicks like Iowa fans.
I'm nice.
Tell me I'm wrong about that.
I'm nice. Right?
But
yeah, so
sometimes.
Getting back on track
Not
here.
every fan, just, most of them. The vast majority.
That's true.
But not me.
Sometimes.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so obviously, like I said, they're very hit or miss, and there's a lot more bad ones than there are good ones. So, what kind of video games do we see today that would lend themselves well?
So I still haven't seen the Uncharted movie, but I want to.
I haven't either, but I've heard it's very mediocre.
I've heard it's pretty good.
Just by looking at the trailer, I'm like, yeah, it looks kind of trash.
I don't know.
I want to see it just because
I've heard good things,
I
but
like Tom Holland. I like
I do like
Uncharted.
Tom Holland. I like Mark
But
Wahlberg.
I think it'll be a fun movie.
yeah,
I don't think it'll be good.
Mhm.
Okay,
I've heard
so-
the biggest deal is the casting. Like, obviously, Mark Wahlberg and Tom Holland are great actors, but it's kind of just it's too young of a role for both of them.
yeah.
Like,
A little
Nathan
bit.
Drake is
Yeah.
a good bit older, and then Sully's even older than that. So it's like
Yeah, I think that Mark Wahlberg should have been Nathan Drake.
That would've made
that
more
was
sense.
actually the rumor at first.
Well, that's what it was supposed to be because Mark
Yeah.
Wahlberg talked about it, and
I think it
he
should
said
be
that he
Nathan
was
Fillion.
supposed to be Nathan Drake,
Well,
but then the
Nathan Fillion's
movie
too old now.
the movie was delayed by the production was delayed by so long that they pushed him back to Sully, and then they had to recast Nathan Drake.
I think Nathan Fillion would be sick because he did that.
Back in the day, it would have.
He did that fan movie, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, that's awesome.
Well, that's like, I don't want to say the character was based off him, but like, kind of the character's based off him because it's just kind of his personality and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, just the looks and stuff. I don't think the character was actually based off him by any means, but like, it's cool, and he's a cool dude. I love Nathan Fillion, but
Yeah.
I think they're going to make more, obviously, and that kind of plays into Tom Holland is an up-and-coming actor who's younger who can grow up into the role too.
Yeah,
So that works. Mark Wahlberg is he 50 now?
Is he
I don't
really?
know.
No way.
Late 40s probably. I think he's getting
How
up
old
there.
is Mark Wahlberg?
Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch.
He's 50.
Yep.
That's crazy.
He's getting out there. So
Will Ferrell's 54. It's telling me here.
I don't think it. I think it was a better
nice.
idea for everyone around if they switched it up a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. Video game movies, like it's a hit and miss. Lots of misses. Potential, so much potential. I think that is what I would describe video game movies or
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
thought. of
Okay,
video
so
movies.
at what point though do we separate, movies versus like series? 'Cause I know The Witcher is based off of a book, but
I
like
think-
The Witcher with what they did there, they nailed it.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
they did
no,
really
I,
good.
So-
I put that into a good category.
But that's also not a
It's
video
different.
game movie. That's a book TV
Yeah, but
show.
it's
do
also-
more. You can do more. All right, you can do less because you don't have the budget,
Yeah.
but you can do more because you have more time to storytell.
yeah.
in
And isn't
series.
Well, plus there's a lot more too with the books and
Yeah,
then the
well,
video
isn't
games
the
and all
didn't
that.
the books
so
come first?
Yes.
And then the games?
Yeah, and that's what I'm
And
saying.
games
It's
are based off the books.
Yeah, and the
taken with their own
show's more
liberties.
based off the games, right?
Off
the-
Or
no,
it's
or
based off the
books,
books.
I meant. Books,
Yeah.
I
It's
meant.
more based off the
it's
books.
more
but
younger, and then like the games aren't they further
it's not
on?
more. No, like it's.
I haven't read the book,
It
so
takes
Yeah, I
the
haven't
same
either.
storyline, story timeline for the most part. Like it all starts in the same place.
Gotcha. Because I guess I thought the games were a little bit later in the timeline.
Like
not
well, it
by a
depends on what
ton,
game.
but like
A little bit. The first game is around the same time frame as it's a little bit later, but
Gotcha.
and the books are all over the place, just like you kind of saw in the first season.
Yeah. I was
And you're like, oh,
skipping around.
this episode, Geralt is like here, but then this episode's like 100 years later,
Yeah.
and you don't
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah.
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 Really, you have to kind of piece that together, which I liked.
I still need to actually see season 2. I
do
haven't.
too. I haven't watched it yet.
It's pretty good. I enjoyed it.
Mhm.
It's I don't think it's quite as good as the first season,
Yeah.
but it is good.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah,
good. It's definitely worth watching.
The only reason why I haven't watched season 2 yet is because the guy I got it from didn't get me season 1. I want to go back and watch season 1 first to kind of refresh my memory, and then I'll jump into season
It's
2.
on
So
Netflix.
I don't
So
have
dude,
Netflix though.
You should, dude.
I canceled
Just
it.
for that, but yeah. So I think series are totally different.
Mhm.
They have the ability to do different things different ways. You know.
Yeah.
Movies, you have a certain time slot,
Yeah.
so it's
Well, yeah,
so
'cause
much harder.
With a TV show, you can go, let's say, even 30-minute episodes, but if you have 8 episodes in a season, that's 4 hours,
Yeah.
which there's no movie that.
And, yeah, most of them are like 50 minutes long anyway.
Yeah,
and
that-
if you get like a 12-episode season,
But that's what I'm saying. Like, there's
Yeah.
a lot more,
yeah, and
you
need
versus
that.
versus
That's
an hour
why-
and a half, 2 hours for a movie, or 2.5 hours on
Yeah.
the long end.
Yeah.
You get
That's
10
why
to 12.
That's why series usually generally, I should say, work out way better than movies for video games.
Yeah.
Because they have the time to dive in deep,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
develop character and story, which a lot of movies they just don't have the freaking time to do
See,
it.
I almost think that video game movies and TV shows fall under the same kind of criticism, I guess you could say, is like the care for the series. I think, you look at Detective Pikachu and Sonic, right? Like the whole reason I think those movies are great was because they respected the lore and they respected.
Is it a money grab?
what they came from?
Do they care about the
Yeah.
content?
Do they care what the and like?
Well, you
looking-
saw that with Sonic when that travesty that was the original form
Yeah,
of
Oh
but
my
Sonic.
then
God,
they
dude.
listen
But
to
they
the fans.
actually listened to fans, which you don't see ever.
No.
Okay, now here's the thing. Did they actually listen to the fans because they cared what the fans thought, like genuinely,
I
or
think so.
or did they actually
I
listen
think
to
there's
the
some
fans?
of that. I think there's
Well,
lots of
hold on.
money though too.
I would say, hold on, or did they actually listen to the fans because at that point they realized so many people would not go see it because of how terrible it looked and they'd lose a ton of money?
No, I think they generally.
I think they redid it more because they knew how much money they'd lose overall if they didn't redo him.
I think they did. They took so much care when in the redo though, and making sure
Yeah.
it was good that it showed that they actually cared about
Yeah.
stuff too.
exactly.
Yeah, of course it's about money, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I think
I'm
Who-
saying I
who
think it
did
has more to
Sonic,
do
to be
about
honest?
money than it does
What
with anything
company was
else.
Is it Sony?
I'm not sure.
I think it's Sony.
I think
If
it
it
was
is
Sony.
Sony generally takes care with some
Yeah.
of their stuff, but
I
But
think
like
it was.
just looking at the second one, right? Like the care,
generally
the care they're putting into this second film, like it is
not the
a
Marvel side,
lot of the imagery and a lot of the stuff is even more Sonic than the first one was. Like Sonic 1 was very good, but it was a lot more toned down. Like it was just kind of Sonic's in the real world. But this one, like you're seeing Robotnik, right? Like as in the games, and like you're seeing his awesome
Sure.
robots and this giant mech. With like his face and stuff, just ripped right out of the games, and then you get, of course, in this one, Tails and Knuckles, and just a lot more crazier Sonic stuff.
Yeah.
Which and the attention to detail and things is sick. Like I love the new poster they just put out today is a like reimagining of the box
Sonic
art
2.
for Sonic 2, the
Yeah.
game. And so I think video game movies and TV shows kind of fall in that same thing. Is like it's either good or bad, and it's depending on whether or not they care about what they're adapting. And I think one thing I look at for like show wise I'm kind of concerned about is Halo.
Mhm.
I'm kind of
Well, that's what
concerned
I
about
was
that
saying
show.
because you can't just do a carbon copy of the game because people have played the game, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
They love it for that reasons, but you
Mhm.
have to take your liberties.
Yep.
Just like with the Marvel movies from
Yeah.
comics and all that stuff, it has to be a bit different to add something to it. It can't just be a remake of a video.
Yeah. See, and Zach kind of touched on this too, and this is a point I was going to bring up. I think it's a lot easier for some games to get a good movie or a good story than others. Because, I mean, obviously, a story-based game like The Last of Us or Uncharted, like it's going to be a lot easier to get a good story-based movie or show versus a game like Elder Scrolls where there's like a bajillion different ways you can take this. Like it branches off 50,000 ways.
That's where
Yeah.
Liberty
so-
should come in.
And so your experience with it is obviously going to be a lot different than my experience. And if I liked it because of mine, and then in my head it's like, oh, this was my experience with it, but then the movie's a completely different thing.
That's why you
It's
wouldn't
gonna
do
screw
like
it
a
up.
role playing thing like
Well,
that.
and
because
that's-
you literally create your story.
Yeah,
at
and that's
that
what I'm
point.
saying, like with a lot of different things, you know, because
So they would
he
have to-
asked like what movies or what games
Sure.
would be good movies, you know. So obviously it's going to be more of a story-based thing, kind of like Uncharted and The Last of Us, and
Yeah, see, but that's the thing.
you know, even
On-
a lot of the other Sony games. Like I
Yeah.
could see Horizon Zero Dawn being
Be fantastic.
being a good movie because it's a linear story, like you know, where there's
That's
not
a lot though.
well, no, there is, but there's not as many branches as like
Sure,
you know, other
yeah.
games where you know you have this ending, this ending, this ending, this ending, or this ending, depending on what decision you made in like 2 hours into the game. You know,
Yeah, see, I'd argue the other side though, because I think then just play the game, because that's what I've heard. The big criticisms from the Uncharted movies so far is just like, yeah, it's decent, but like the game does everything so much better, and we're at a point now in video games where like cinematics and you know visuals like are very very good, and so you can get the same feeling out of you know emotional you know feeling out of the games that you could in a movie, and you get more you know interaction and you get more time and all of that stuff in a game. That like that's one of the big criticisms like I said I've heard in Uncharted is like it's okay, but like a lot of the things they do is just like taken from the game, and it's just like play the game because it's better. So I could also see the other side of that coin, but I don't know. I think it's very tricky, right? Like I would agree though that like the whole turning RPGs and like these more open.
I think the lore, the
Games.
story is the lore.
Yeah,
Zach.
like I think a good example of that actually is World of Warcraft. Didn't it that kind of bomb? That movie?
Which one?
The
Oh,
movie?
the Warcraft. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
pretty good. It was pretty
Yeah,
bad.
and that's most likely because of that
No.
reason, right? Like it's not meant to be this.
You can't hit the check mark for everyone. You just gotta
Yeah,
try to do your best for
Yeah.
whatever you think your biggest audience is. So yeah, some people like gameplay, some people like story.
hmm
I haven't seen many people. I don't think your audience is huge of people who don't care about a story but like the gameplay of a story game. I don't think that's usually a
Yeah.
big audience. I wouldn't worry about it, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
What people care about, especially in like movie media and cinema and stuff, is story and character and development and all that stuff. Like, you know what makes a good movie, right?
Yeah,
So they're gonna find something that in a different media like video games that really grabs people, that people gravitate towards, you know, which is the same stuff, and just take that and bring it over and mess around with it, you know.
yeah.
So that's what you are going for.
Yeah.
What do people love in video games story wise, that element, and then what can we do with it in the movie element that, you know, gives them what they want to an extent, but we can also hit other new people.
yeah.
But I don't know, like it's tough to do. It's really tough.
It is.
Like I said, that 1.5 to 3 hour time slot,
Yeah.
especially for a video game that takes what 40 to 60 hours usually?
Depending on the game, I mean,
Yeah.
because
Like-
Uncharted, you could probably finish those
Oh,
games,
you
you
could
know,
do
in
that in
like
20 maybe.
I'd even say like you know if you play it on a
15.
normal difficulty,
Sure.
maybe 8, you know, like 8 to 10 hours. Because when the Uncharted collection came out with Uncharted
don't care
1,
about
2, and
Hollywood.
3, when that came out on PS4, I ended up getting the platinum trophy in all 3 of those within a week.
Yeah.
And I mean that was just me playing it on stream, you know, so that'd be
Sure.
you know 6 hours a night for 6 days. So I mean you got 30 to 40 hours probably
Yeah.
to do everything in those 3 games.
Yeah.
But even that's 10 hours a game, which is obviously a lot more than a 2.5 hour long movie. You
Yeah.
know?
I don't think Hollywood validates anything,
No.
Zach.
Hollywood sucks.
Like, that mentality, I don't even think that's a mentality for anyone who loves the video games or anything. But who doesn't want to see one of your favorite video games like brought to the big screen?
Yeah. Like
Like,
Detective
that's
Pikachu
awesome.
was huge for me. Like I
Dude,
love that
I
movie.
I thought the
love
game
that
in general
movie,
was, or the movie in general was mediocre. It was fun to watch, but like just, all right. League of Legends just came out with a series Arcane.
Great.
How freaking amazing was that?
Mm-hmm.
To take something that it's such a huge game worldwide right now that doesn't really have anything to do with story mode and brought that story to like a really well done, well funded adult or animated series that just knocked everything out of the park. Like, that's what people want. People have wanted that. I've wanted that personally for so long.
Yeah.
And they finally did it, and what happened? Like,
It was awesome.
it was killer. It was amazing, and they're already working on season 2, and they're going to keep going with it, and it's making money for those people too.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you want.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to see their favorite character from a video game with a little bit more added on the big screen? You can go to the movie and watch it. Like, I would love to see that stuff. That's so cool.
Yep. That's like, I mean, that's a big reason I love the Detective Pikachu movie.
Right?
And like
Whether
Sonic.
you think that's validation or not, I don't know. It's just, I love that stuff.
Yeah, me too. Like Sonic is, I love the Sonic games. I grew up on them. Ironically enough, Sonic 06 was the first game I ever played, which is not a good one.
I've never played a Sonic game.
I'm not a Sonic fan, so I don't play those games either.
I never had a Sega growing up.
I mean, it's not like, it's not my favorite, but it's definitely like
just
probably top 10 franchises for me. But
it's what it is, you know.
It's really cool to see this character on the big screen and like see the respect they give him too. Like obviously they messed up right at the beginning, but they fixed it, and in this new one they're even going even more into
Zach
like
says that's a PR stunt, conspiracy theory,
and all of that stuff, right? Like
that'd be funny.
I could actually see that.
I love how the second trailer starts off with Sonic's and Tails are like running away from Robotnik, and the main character, what's his name, James Marsden, right? He's like sitting at a wedding, and Sonic calls him, and his ringtone is Green Hill Zone, the original Green Hill Zone, and you hear da 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 da, and the lady's like getting married. She's like, "What's going on?" Or like turn the phone off, and I'm like, that's just cool, right? Like I love when they do little little
throwbacks,
music beats, and all these little Easter egg things. Like I remember the first one they played when Sonic was still in like Sonic World. I don't know if they gave it a name, but like he was running through Green Hill Zone, and they played Sonic Mania music, which is awesome because if you know the story of that game, like it was a fan-made game basically. Like it was Christian Whitehead who done some like iPhone like or just phone like creations of Sonic games like Sonic 1, 2, and all of these games, and Sega like commissioned to make them. Well, then he made a few like ROM hacks, and he did a few like tweaks to some of the older games that had issues, and then they're like, okay, we're gonna make a new Sonic game. Let's get him on board because he knows this, and so he made Sonic Mania, which is like definitively Sonic 4 in a lot of people's minds, which it is because the actual Sonic 4.
Which
was
one
trash.
did Michael Jackson make the music on?
Sonic 3. That's why that one's super hard to come out on. Yeah, because that's a whole lot of legal trouble. So that's why, like, in collections and stuff, like for Sega, you hardly see that one, which sucks because I think that's the best one. Sonic 3.
Well, he
Knuckles.
didn't even ask for like any royalties or anything, did he?
No, but it's just like
he wanted his like.
Well, see,
all
that's
of
the
his,
thing. It's
well,
actually
you've seen that. What is it? The game trailers mystery one about that, right?
Yeah, what's actually like kind of interesting because there's
That's really
also
cool.
a lot of like, isn't there like a lot of things like where it's like he didn't like the reason why it's so hard to come out because
He couldn't
didn't
do what he wanted,
Yeah, and so like he didn't want to be.
so
a
he
part
didn't
of it.
want anything going back to his name because that's not something that he.
Yeah.
Someone who truly cares about what they create, Michael
Yep.
Jackson, but he didn't want any credit because that's not how he wanted that to create.
Which is crazy because that soundtrack is awesome. That's one thing Sonic does really well is the soundtracks are really bopping. Like they're good.
See, my only experience with Sonic would be playing Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games back on the Wii. That was like that was my first experience with anything to do with Sonic, and my only experience with anything. I still haven't played one, so I mean that's still
a really
the
cool.
only one I've done.
They're
There's a really cool video for that, Zach. If you look it up,
the big ones, like obviously the best ones
A YouTube
are
video.
the your traditional side scrollers,
Yeah.
like platformers. They're just really fast paced and they're pretty fun. But if you want like 3D ones to play, they're very hit or miss. The 3D ones are, but
The
I'd say,
new
like,
one looks really kind of interesting.
I think which one? Oh yeah,
Sonic Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, what is it actually called? Is it
I have
Sonic,
no idea what it's actually called. I just know it's a.
Oh, I can't think of it right now, but no, that looks sick actually. But like Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 are really good on GameCube. I like those ones a lot. But other than that, 3D Sonic, it's pretty hit or miss.
Yeah.
Sonic Colors is good. That one's actually just came out on the Switch. That one's more. It's kind of a combination of both 2D and 3D. Like there's segments where you're running 3D and then it'll switch to 2D, and Generations does well on that too, and that's kind of just a leveler to the series as well. But yeah, I like Sonic. It's dope. I think you would enjoy it. Like you like Mario, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a lot of differences, but like if you like that side scroller platformer type game, it's pretty
not
good.
my thing.
So
But that's to each their own.
yes, I agree. Bring chows back. Chows are sick. They're like little creatures that are like these little blue dudes that you can raise. And in the second Sonic Adventure game, they had like a Chow Garden where you could raise them, get food for them, like put stats into them, and then you like have them race. Very similar like
Chocobos.
but like it was a little bit more fleshed out, and it was like its own side game inside this game, and it was super sick. You can make them like light and dark, and you could like take them to hell and like make them demons basically, or you could take them up these staircases to heaven and make them angels. It was like super sick.
Interesting.
But yeah, so
Video game movies, potential. That's all. That's how one word to describe it. Potential.
Yeah.
yeah,
Potential. I
No.
mean that. Dude, I really wish they were better. But I think at the same time with the way things are going and the video games are becoming a lot more mainstream now. Even like in the last 5 years, it's really ramped up. So I think that it's only gonna get better.
yeah.
I mean,
So-
and the
Budgets are
writing
gonna get
in
better.
games are
Yep.
better. The budgets are better. Like everything is getting better and better because they're making a lot more money because video games are growing significantly faster, I think, than people even 5 years ago thought they would right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the movies, it's only a matter of time before they really catch up and they get to be just as good.
So
Oh, yeah.
yeah, before we kind of move on here, I know I've briefly mentioned the Halo series, like, and obviously Dan, you're a huge Halo fan. Like, what do you have this kind of same concerns? Because I have some concerns.
Yeah. They're changing the story
Yeah.
quite a bit to a point. They're changing character quite a bit,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't freaking change Master Chief.
No, I
Right.
hate the voice. The voice is not.
I can get over the voice
I
because
just
like
can't.
it's a physical person that has to be this actor as well who does more than just.
But do you? Because he shouldn't ever take his helmet off. So
He
it could just
shouldn't.
be a CG
Well,
character or is a guy under
The
this.
thing is, outside of the video games, he took his helmet off all the time because he didn't always have armor. Like there's a
Yeah.
lot more than just the video game storyline
Yeah.
for Halo.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like,
so I understand that part.
I feel like they
But
could
when he
bring
has
him
armor-
back and like do the voice and just have some other guy or like a CG character or whatever they do, and then if they did take the mask off, then they could do
He
some.
can take his mask off. And you don't even
Nobody
have to show
cared
his
who I
face.
was until I
Yeah,
put on
but-
the mask.
Like I don't know, they're doing something different with it, but they're changing how people view Chief and all that stuff too. Like
Yeah.
just some of the lore is changing, and I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm a little.
If
worried
there's
about
one story that you don't need to change whatsoever, and you
Halo.
can still do crazy things with, it's Halo.
it is Halo.
Yeah.
It is definitely
But-
Halo. So
We'll see how it goes.
yeah,
I don't have Paramount TV, but someone does, and I'll watch it.
yeah, I'll definitely
see.
watch it.
We'll see
for
how it
sure,
is.
So.
When's that coming out?
Pretty
Soon.
soon.
I don't know when, but it's soon.
Is it the end of March?
Maybe. It sounds right.
I think so. I think like really soon, actually. But
I can get it for you if you want.